Did you know that the first licensed Star Wars game was released in 1982 on the Atari 2600? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delight. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 208. My name's Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host, and this is now in sound and vision again. And on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
I can't believe we're doing this. It is what it's come to now. Flaunting ourselves to get more viewers. Unbelievable.
You got a really good backdrop, though. You got some really good stuff there.
It took me years to get that going.
I know. Me with my bookshelf. You with your kind of whatever they are. What are they?
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops. And on our virtual... I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry. On my virtual right is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Today we're going to be chatting about a bit of news. We're going to talk about the main kind of like news story that's appeared in the last couple of days. We're going to be doing a preview of what games to look forward to in September. And also we're going to be playing about what games we've been playing. And we're going to do a Star Wars special, little theme, little quiz at the end. So these are the things we're going to do in the next 45 minutes to an hour. So let's start with the big news, which I think came out yesterday. Is that right? I think it did. It was like... Yeah, so Concord, which is the big... one of the big releases for PlayStation, that's appeared a couple of weeks ago. And Concord, people don't know, is a kind of like live service, multiplayer sort of shooter, a bit like Overwatch, maybe. I think that's pretty fair to say. And they've announced yesterday that they're going to close down the servers, and everyone who's purchased it will get their money back. Which is, now I don't think I've heard of anything like this before. When people have gone, this is we're closing down the servers and giving the money back. Can you think of anything else, James? Have you heard of any other game like this?
I expected it with Skull and Bones, but that didn't, so I thought it can't happen ever. But here we go. It's a good move to refund them now. I think if you didn't refund people, it'd be a lot worse. If you just said, oh, we'll shut it down, tough luck, people would be fuming. But it's a surprise move after, 2 weeks? It's nothing. That's a bad launch. A very bad launch.
And I think sort of reviews have been, like, most of the reviews are reviews in progress, because they're just waiting to see if the game progresses the next few weeks. But most of them are basically saying there's some nice stuff there, but it's not enough content, it's not enough going on, it feels a bit kind of like it's okay-ish. That's been the kind of feeling of it. And I think you've got to have a game that kind of comes in all guns blazing, something new for people, especially on live service. Richard, what's your thoughts? Do you think, have you heard anything like this before? Are you surprised?
I was surprised. I know that Sony were keen to persevere with it, but I think when they compared the numbers, I think Steam managed less than 700 at launch. It would have sold better on the PS5, but obviously not well enough. It's a bit of a shock, but I think in a way that they're also doing the right thing. They've got a lot of stuff there that I think they're going to take forward, at least, and whenever Concord 2.0 decides to resurface, I think it'll be very different from where it is now, because that was perhaps the issue, that yes, it was a live service game, but it wasn't. I didn't see anything there, and other people have commented the same, that there was anything there that to take them away from whatever live service game they were currently playing.
I think that's a really interesting point as well, about saying, do you think it has then got a life? Do you think they'll come back to it and they'll bring it back online after a new look?
Yeah, I think so. But one of the things that I'd like to see when it does come back is they get rid of the price associated with it, because it needs a live service game should be free to play. Really, I think having that upfront cost is going to put a lot of people off, and perhaps that's one of the reasons as well that they were stumping up for a game that had very little content. And yes, later on down the line, it may have gotten more content, but it's that upfront purchase which I think puts a lot of people off with those games.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, what was it, 50 quid or $70? Is it normal price?
I think it was a little bit cheaper, but still
Right.
still an upfront purchase.
James, I'm going to ask you this question. I think we chatted about this on our podcast before. It's been a bad year for live service games, isn't it? When we think of
Justice League.
Suicide Squad.
Well,
Justice
League, yeah.
Yeah, and that's £200 million in the red. We reported this week, and the lack of interest with that. Is this a death knell for live service games? Do you think live service games are dead from this, or is this just a blip?
I think if you're going to go down that route, you've got to do it well. And you can see how things like Fortnite, Overwatch, they keep it going. Because they know how to appease the customers. Whereas this Concord game, I've seen nothing that would draw me to try it, let alone pay $40 for it. So I think live service is still a thing, and it will still work, but you've got to work so much harder. And you can't really put a price tag on it. It has to be free, I think, these days, to get that initial customer base, and then keep hold of them long term. Yeah, I don't think it's the death of live service. No.
I think it's an interesting thing. We talked about this before a bit with FIFA, for example, because FIFA is a live service game with Ultimate Team, isn't it, really, in a sense? But you've got to make... Yeah, but you've got a game in that. You know, you've got a career mode in that, you've got a multiplayer in that,
exactly.
And then you've got if you don't have to get involved in that side.
No.
And that, yeah.
Whereas Concord came with, I think it was 3 game modes and a roster of characters that no one bought into. And if you've got a hero shooter and none of the heroes are interesting, what's the point? You know, what's the draw? It had nothing apart from the core gameplay, which is a bit like Destiny. Which is obviously because the developers used to work at Bungie. It's a shame, but you never know, they might come back better than ever.
It's a thing about, as well, I mean, one of the big things is we've said that story about them being 8 years in development. And of course, that goes back to, 2017, 2016. And at that time, Overwatch had come out, become very popular. We were just probably seeing the start of Fortnite and that thing. And there is a big thing about people going, and the same with Suicide Squad, it was in development for 4 or 5 years, but people going, this is the next thing, this is the next big thing, we need to get on this. But of course, 8 years down the line, like you said, people are either, there's things change, it's got to be very different, or they stick with their Overwatch, or they stick with their Apex Legends, and they don't. I think I'm asking a both question. Do you think that those decisions are going to change in the future? Do you think now people are going, I need to make a live action shooter, or do we really need to rethink? That relies on people subscribing, people playing it, people being on servers to survive. Richard.
I think the big thing that you've both sort of alluded to is the likes of Overwatch, which was the first big one that I think we can think back to. FIFA, Ultimate Team, they're established franchises. Concord's the newcomer to it, and it doesn't have that that player base. So when that came along, it was going to have to take people from existing live service games. I don't think it was going to win any new players that haven't tried a live service game before. So I think PlayStation have also said that they had other live. This was a while back. They also had other live service games in the pipeline. The Last of Us 2 multiplayer game was cancelled, which was a bit of a shock really, because that had the investment in terms of players already invested in that series. But Concord's come along. No one's really known anything about it beforehand. There was very little press really, aside from that preview that didn't really win anyone over. There's the upcoming secret level episode based on it, and perhaps it should have come after that to gauge some interest and build up some hype. But I don't think there really was anything for it beforehand. So I to answer then your question, yes, I think that the what was I going to say then? There needs to be more to it than just bringing a game out without anything.
And also, I think there's also a thing about, I'm going to say this now, but it's also about the money people as well. This, when you're making a game, you're obviously you want to make a game, you want people to buy it, and you want to sell it and make money. But on top of this, you've got to go, how can we make money? How can we get that Fortnite money? How can we get that FIFA Ultimate Team money? That it's always coming in, even after that game's been released for like 8 years. That's where execs and that's where, big organisations, corporations will kind of want to do that. That's been the thinking as well. Mm-hmm. The Suicide Squad game, that was their thinking. They was thinking that would go on, this will have a life, and people will buy season passes and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Maybe that's not a good place to start. Maybe it's about starting, let's make a good game.
Mm-hmm. So always helps.
Good. Let's get out of this bleak news. There's another. I'm just going to really quickly. Did you see the story about? I think it's Ateria, the game. That's
yeah.
That was so. Ateria, is it? Have I said that right?
Enotria, I think.
Enotria, that's it. And it's a Souls-like game, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that's coming out. Yeah, go on, Richard. You say.
Sorry, no. Go on, Gareth.
No, you tell it. You'll tell it better than me.
They put something on their socials a couple of days ago to say that the reason, I don't know I can't remember if it's out now. I'm guessing so because of what they said, but the reason it was indefinitely delayed on Xbox wasn't to do with the Xbox Series S that seems to be the issue for Wukong, allegedly, but basically they were having a few issues with something and were trying to get in touch with Microsoft, but then they'd been radio silence from them from 2 months, and they said that was the reason why.
They're letting you down. That's what they said, which I pretty liked. Yeah, it's like someone who's really annoyed. It's like when you're trying to get hold of a doctor, in the doctor's appointment in the morning. It's got that kind of response. No one's getting back to you. I guess you're letting yourselves down. You're letting all of us down. Yeah, so I think it's kind of interesting. It's got a strange week definitely a strange week for Sony, and it's kind of a bit of a shock, I think, to the gaming world. But let's move on. Let's go on to our usual thing. So every month, Neil, who's the editor of the Xbox Hub, produces this is what to look forward to in the month. And what we normally do is we go through it here on the podcast, and we don't recognise any of the games that Neil's put down, and we don't recognise anything that we want to play. Hopefully we're going to be kinder this week, but we're going to go through the list if I can find it. So these are and there's quite a few this month, isn't there? It's about 19 new games to keep you busy. We're going to go through and quick comment things that we're interested in, things that we might like, some things we might skip over. But let's start from the beginning. It's this is Richard's Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. You've spoken about this before on the podcast. You still excited about this?
It's downloaded. I've not had a chance to play it yet for reasons that I'll go into when I talk about what we've been playing. But yeah, I've always had a soft spot for the PS2 Quidditch game, despite that being received terribly. But I think this one's going to be quite good. I'm quietly optimistic about it. I could be eating my words in a few weeks, and if so, then I apologise. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as people seem to think. The few things I've seen about it, so you've got the PS1 Hagrid meme is available as like an in-game mask. They've changed the rules as well of Quidditch. So I know it's a fictional game, but I'm sure we're all aware of the basic rules, and the snitch being the thing that if you catch that, it ends the game. But they've changed the rules of that, so that even if you catch the snitch, it's not worth as many points, and the game will keep going. So it'd be interesting to see how it works. But
Yeah,
I'm not tried it yet, but I'm still optimistic.
it's free to play if you've got PlayStation on the PlayStation. If you've got PlayStation subscription, whatever that is at the moment as well.
PlayStation Plus.
So I might give it a go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I might give it a go
I wouldn't.
and see. No,
I seen one match we played. It looked so boring. Chasing the snitch
Exactly.
around for a minute.
James, don't ruin Richard's dreams. He's looking
I have
forward
to
to
tell
it
the
this
truth,
weekend.
sorry.
It depends
Alright.
which position you play as well.
Yeah, you can play the Vita or the keeper or the... What's the thrower called?
Chaser.
Chaser, yeah. Yeah, you can swap between the
Okay.
positions quite quickly, which is good. But it does look really boring. Sorry, Richard.
Okay. There you go. Good.
Have fun.
We can move on to the next game. Have fun with that. When you said what's the thing called, I was going to say Ravenclaw, but I wasn't saying it as a joke. I really thought that's what it was, and I realised it was a house name.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Ravenclaw. Yeah, that's it.
Star Trucker. That's out now on Game Pass today, as you see. I'm reviewing Star Trucker. I've only played about an hour of it, but it's really good. It's really good. You're basically, trucking in space. You're in a kind of truck. You've got a CB radio, but you're in a spacecraft. And you go out and deliver stuff. And and you've got a little country and western kind of radio with good tracks, rock and roll, that kind of tracks. I'm quite enjoying myself. And you're going along transporting goods from here to there. And you have these little chats with truckers, get to bits of the story. It's quite relaxing and quite good.
Have you done a Let's Play of it?
No, I should do, really, shouldn't I? I did have trouble docking. I thought this would be a terrible Let's Play. It was 45 minutes of me trying to dock. Yeah, but that's out now. Next one is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I think Neil's going to be reviewing this, and I saw a couple of reviews that have come out today. Who wants to talk about this? Anyone? It's in Hong Kong. Richard?
I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Neil stole this code off me. If you want the full story, you need to ask him directly. But yeah, it's been 12, 13 years since the last Test Drive Unlimited. So this one's finally out after multiple delays. But yeah, like you say, you're driving around Hong Kong this time. It's an open world online racer. If you've played Forza Horizon or Test Drive Unlimited before, that's the similar vein you get in. But I think the thing with the Test Drive Unlimited games is they're a bit B-movie anyway. So it's kind of got its quirks and its charms about it. This one, from what I've seen so far, is very much similar to, but it remains to be seen when it goes on general sale whether it's going to hold up, because the last one was a terrible launch, and I wrote about it extensively on a retrospective for Test Drive Unlimited 2. So we'll see how this one goes.
It's online only, always online, which is also might be a problem for it now. I think I thought just looking at a few early reviews, and they were basically saying the problem that they've got is Forza Horizon has taken on the mantle from them, and that's what they're always comparing it to, I think. But we'll find out. We'll find out soon. The casting of Frank Stone, that's out very soon, isn't it? I think you might be doing this, Richard. You can't probably say anything about it, can you?
It's out now. Came out yesterday, I think.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I've done the first couple of chapters on it. Very much in the similar vein for Supermassive games. So I know you're a fan of those, Gareth. This one's not going to disappoint in that sense. This one ties into the Dead by Daylight franchise, which I believe we've all played online together once. But there's lots of callbacks to it as well. So if you're a fan of either Supermassive games or Dead by Daylight, this is perhaps a game to get for the spooky season.
Good, there you go. The next one, James, I know you're a fan of this, the Jackbox Naughty Pack.
Yeah, I can't wait. I always get like naughty with my friends.
It's a risque adults only version of the popular party game pack. Yeah.
It looks like
Wow.
the usual jackpot games, but with adult humour. I think that's basically it.
There you go. Yeah.
But I'm sure it'll be good fun with the right people.
Yeah, very good. Next one. Anyone know about Parcel Corps?
It's been delayed.
Good.
It's delayed, I think. So
Next one.
Great. Forget that. We'll see. We'll talk about that another time. I think Darren's got the next one, which is Ace Attorney Investigations Collection.
Mm-hmm.
I've told you before. Does it? I've never played one. I've said this before, but yeah.
It's really good, like detective mixed with prosecution aspects. So you'll investigate crimes, and then you'll basically go to court and prove them. It's really interesting, and there's nothing better than going, "No, you're a liar. This is the evidence." So yeah, I enjoy that.
Good. Yeah.
And let's get this. I think it's got 2 games in one collection. Yeah, it's Ace Attorney Investigation, Miles Edgeworth, and Investigations 2. So you get 2 games in price of 1. Well, hey.
There we go. Good. Don't know what you were saying then, but I like it. It didn't mean anything to me.
You're showing your acting skills there. Pretend to be interested.
I was nodding, looking at the camera. Normally, when I've got the podcast without this, I'm just looking away. I'm drinking at this point. We're talking about.
Can't get away with it now.
I can't do anything now. Just sit there. Next one everyone's looking forward to is NBA 2K25.
You definitely are.
I definitely are. I think I might be doing this. There's no one else coming in. So, I mean, I don't mind these. I'm just terrible at them. I just go in the career. I always pick a centre forward. I sort of do it adequately all the time. I get C pluses.
When you doing terrible at games, ever stopped you?
Yeah. But, you know, it always looks good. I would just be interested to see if they've carried on with this whole, like, what they've done this year. I mean, the last one I played and reviewed was a few years ago, and it was the first one was that multi sort of like open world online sort of city you were walking about in. So yeah, we'll see. James, I'm going to give this over to you. EA Sports. There's another football game coming out from. Would you believe it? EA Sports FC 25.
They come every year, don't they?
They do.
Yes, this one. It's going to be a lot more. They put a lot more effort into the game engine, I think. So you've got more player roles and a more intelligent AI. You've got a brand new mode called Rush, which is a bit like Volta, but not a waste of space. And there's new Ultimate Team things. Every area has basically an overhaul. So I'm always excited for FIFA. But this year, sorry, not FIFA, EA FC 25. Yeah, I'm always excited for it. I think this will be a very good one.
It's funny, isn't it? It's like I always have a month off FIFA. Sports. And then I get excited about it again. But by July, I'm like, I've had enough of this. Why am I still playing this? What am I doing with my life? But then when it comes to the end of August, I go...
I mean, October.
And then it's like, yay! Here we go, another one. Yeah. Good. I'm going to go Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. That's getting some nice reviews. Just been the embargo happened today. I do like the look of this. Anyone else like the look of this? Richard?
Play the first one, but it sounds like Doom meets Warhammer, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I've not touched them before.
But it is getting some nice kind of like little reviews and previews, and so it looks amazing. Paul's reviewing this for us, so hopefully we'll hear about it soon. Mm-hmm. Wild Bastards. No, that's not you two. This is shooty game. That's Neil's put here. Anyone know about Wild Bastards?
I think it's a sequel, right? A spiritual successor to Void Bastards. I think it's just like a roguelike first-person shooter. With loads of cowboys. What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? That's the damn thing.
It looks fun.
Next one. It does look fun, doesn't it? Next game is the one I'm doing called Self Loss. It's a adventure game set in a Slavic-inspired, whale-worshipping fantasy. All I'm saying now, I'm really enjoying. And I think someone said it's a bit like Cocoon is a kind of good way to example. It's different from Cocoon, but I can see where that's similar kind of feel to it. It's lots of puzzles to solve, really brilliantly kind of visual storytelling. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So we'll keep posted soon. Yars Rising. Anyone who's doing this?
I'm reviewing this at the moment.
Oh.
It's a 2D sort of like Metroidvania game inspired by the classic Yars Revenge on the old Atari. But it's much more modern. So you're playing as what's her name, Emmy, who she's a young hacker. She goes to hack her place of work, and then uncovers this whole alien invasion conspiracy that's going on. So as you're traveling through this world, you'll pick up various upgrades that then allow you to open up other areas of this world. But every so often there's like a terminal that allows you to play like a classic Yars level, basically. So it's taking that whole premise but applying like a 2D Metroidvania there, but for fans of the older Yars and more traditional Yars games. There's definitely still that element of it there. But my full thoughts should be maybe end of this week, early next week.
Good. Okay, that's good. A minute ago, I picked up this glass. I don't know if you saw it. It went like that, and this glass hasn't got anything in it. I realised, but I didn't go like that. I just did them on camera, pretended.
It's sort of like making improvising.
Yeah. There you go.
This one's got stuff in.
That's how it's
done. The next game on this endless list is Funko Fusion. What the hell is this?
So,
James,
it's the guys... Well, do you remember TT Games? He used to do Lego games.
Oh, yeah.
Well, some of them guys made a new company called 1010 Games. And now they've made a Funko game, which is very much Lego-ish. So you'll play through different worlds from the Funkoverse, play loads of different characters, break things, collect currency. It is very much Lego. But obviously you've got different IPs from Universal and I think it's Skybound. So you've got Walking Dead, Hot Fuzz, Jurassic World, He-Man, and loads. So they all come together for a very humorous third-person action adventure. Any questions?
Have you played this?
No, I've watched a few videos.
And you think it looks good? Oh, okay,
yeah,
good.
The puzzles are very Lego style. It's a little bit gory and a bit sweary. So it's not for kids, I wouldn't say.
Okay.
Maybe teenagers.
Okay, right. It's a strange decision. Yeah, it's a risk, isn't it? Yeah. Good. Next one. Train Sim World 5. It's back.
That's yours.
It's a very popular thing. It's on Game Pass, I think, mid-September. 3 new routes. We've got the commuter mayhem of the West Coast Main Line. Where's the West Coast Main Line, apart from on the West Coast? Where's that one?
West Coast to where? America.
No, it's England, I think. I'll find that out when I review it.
It's from Morecambe to Preston. That'll be it.
That'll be it. Good, Morecambe to Preston. Hopefully, we'll go for that. There's the another one I can't pronounce, and some slope traps of the San Bernardo line. So yeah, I mean, it's good. Oh, look, a new way to play is conductor mode, where you play the role of the conductor guard. Oh, this is good. Yeah, I'll be into that.
I didn't get any more depressing. Jesus Christ.
Just walking up and down, collecting tickets.
Getting abuse from teenagers.
Chasing them off the train.
Chucking them off the train. I hope that's the case. That'd be very funny. Basically trying to sort someone out. Someone who's confused their tickets and has got different things. You're trying to do refunds and do, hope has got all that. Yeah. Great. Well, we'll find out about that soon. Beyond Galaxyland. Anyone know what this is?
I've got it to review, but I haven't touched it. It's a quite. It looks really visually impressive. Another two D side scroller, but RPG. Heavily inspired by sci-fi films. So it's like kind of like a cyberpunky world, but there's a real good sort of sense of humour to it as well. It doesn't seem to be taking itself too seriously. Looks good. I've not had a chance to try it yet, but that's due out at the end of the month.
Okay, there you go.
It does look quite good.
It does look, yeah. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Don't know what I think about this still, but it's coming out very soon. It's the whole thing. Anyone excited about this? I think Paul was.
Quietly excited about it, yeah. I really enjoy the first Dead Rising. It was a game that I was never able to finish though. Back in the day, it was sort of you had to play it and then restart it because your level carried over. But it was designed that you were never supposed to finish it first time around. Really, you were meant to level up before you could have a proper run of it. So hopefully they've sort of. I know they've improved a lot of things to make it a bit more simplified, and even what was it, the end, not the endless mode, but you had to survive for 7 days, and each day was two hours, so you had 14 hours to sort of survive. They've changed things like that as well, so that's no longer 14 hours to do anymore. So some of the improvements sound like they're going to benefit people that perhaps struggled with it first time around, i.e. me.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I think the timing thing was always a bit of a thing for me when you had a certain time. Yeah, I can understand.
I kept running out of time and reloaded it. It started again.
Yeah, exactly. They got rid of that in the later ones, which is a good move, I think. But we'll see. We'll see what it's like. It does look visually, it looks very different. We're nearly there. We've got a couple more. Fumata. Is that how you say it? Fumata?
Fumata?
Yeah. Lovecraftian. Oh, yeah. A Lovecraftian survival horror experience. Yeah, this is getting some good traction, I think. It would be quite interesting. I seem to have reviewed a lot of these types of games. But yeah, it's deep in the Missouri countryside. Yeah, let's see what that's like. It's coming out mid-month. And the last one, Bloomtown, A Different Story. Anyone know about this?
It's a nice little RPG where it's like a quiet little town, but it turns out there's monsters there. You have to fight the monsters as a group of kids. It looks good. It looks decent, but nothing special.
Right.
Okay.
Good. Well, thank God that list is over. But it was 19 games that we've gone through. Anything I missed out? There can't be anything we've missed out.
No, I think that's...
No. Now, because of time, I'm going to have to ask you too. We're not going to talk about what games you've been playing this. We have to save that because I want to get us onto Star Wars. I'm so sorry. Star Wars Outlaws is a game that came out on the end of the month, 31st. I reviewed it for us. If you don't know what Star Wars Outlaws is, it's an Ubisoft open world Star Wars game. You play as Kay-Vaz, who's a kind of thief, scoundrel, and her little alien dog creature, Nyx. And the game starts out with you with a heist going wrong, and you steal a spaceship, and you're basically trying to kind of survive and work your way up this kind of like the scoundrel thief network, and stop yourself being killed. And you've got something called a death mark on you, which is like a wanted list. So you're trying to get rid of that and trying to get yourself in with favour with certain organisations. There's the Pikes, the Hutts, the Imperials are there as well. I can't remember the other one. Oh, Crimson Dawn. Ravenclaw's there. Crimson Dawn is another group. And then you go to 4 or 5 planets, and it is open world. You can take missions. There's lots of side quests. Has that kind of Red Dead thing of when you just be walking along and you're listening on a conversation that might lead you to some intel for a possible quest or where treasure is hidden. And you get to open world exploration, but also you get to drive a speeder. across the planets, and you get to do a lot of platforming. But it's a massive stealth game. A lot of stuff going into kind of missions and stealth, and then of course you go into combat. I really loved exploring the worlds. I kind of like the characters, I like the story. I think some of the visuals are brilliant. The stealth mechanic grew a bit tiring after a while, for me, and it felt. I don't think it's great stealth. I don't think it's brilliantly. It's a strange thing where the enemies can reset quite quickly. This is a few times that I did a mission. Oh no, I didn't do a mission. I kind of did it, and I just got overwhelmed. I mucked up the stealth thing, and I kind of like got killed. And it reloaded, and I finished in the place where I was. I came out, and everyone was just like normally walking around. I thought, it doesn't feel a brilliant system to get involved in. But I don't mind the platforming. I think when you do get in combat, that's quite fun. But I gave it 4 stars, and I think I was probably generous because I thought the actual creation and the making of the world was really a kind of really interesting way of doing it. I thought the characters were good. I thought it was great to be on things like in Jabba's palace, the Sandy Planet. I never forget the name of, and it's just good kind of adventures. And I did enjoy the story, so I was kind of a bit more generous. But I think some of the mechanics felt a bit gamey for me. Have you had a go at Richard?
Yeah. I'm still on Toshara, the first main planet that you visit at the moment. I did like a mission in space, and then I've landed back on it. But I'm not at a point where the stealth is repetitive yet, thankfully. I think the combat's pretty good when you get to use your blaster, but I would say it doesn't happen as often as I'd like it to. I'm enjoying, like I say, the exploring. I think some of the loot systems and how you need various types of loot to upgrade certain things, I'm enjoying, and then going out and exploring and finding that specific loot. So far, I think, yeah, it's pretty good. Whether it's got the legs to last as long as a typical Ubisoft game, I'm not too sure yet. But it's nice. It's nice to sort of play as someone different in the Star Wars world that doesn't have a lightsaber, and it being open world and being able to explore at your own pace. I think that's the main selling point of it, and for that reason, I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sounds like I've been down in it. I gave it 4 stars, and I was, I did really like that kind of exactly what you said about kind of open world missions, lots of things to do. Just being in that world is amazing at times. You kind of look at where you are and go, this is great. As a kid, I would have loved to be in the town and all that stuff. It's great. It hasn't. I don't know if I think Ubisoft. I don't know if it's sold as well as they wanted to. Their shares have gone down. I think it's got some unfair criticism from people, from streamers and some reviews really hard on it. Most reviews being sort of 3.5, 4, but some people being a bit harsh on it. I think maybe blaming Ubisoft rather than the game.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing with Ubisoft games is that for a fact in 6 to 8 weeks it's going to be on sale as well. It just seems like their business model. I think it'll do quite well around Christmas time. To be honest, I think it'll sell quite well. But by that point, I would have expected. Yeah, it'll have had a couple of discounts by then as well. So
yeah, but good. I mean, I'd give it a go. I mean, like you said, it'd be a great Christmas game. I think it's really good at Christmas. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Gave it 4, so give it a go. But let's talk about Star Wars. We've had a think about we've got maybe 3 games each, and our top 3 Star Wars games. Can I go around to you, James, first?
I think my all-time favourite is Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I mean, you were surprised, but I think it's the second best Lego game because it had a massive roster. I think it was over 200 characters, and it had these multi-builds where you could build something and break it down and build something else. And then they had the blaster battles, the TIE fighter battles. It had so much variety and the usual Lego humour. And even when you finish the story, there was so much to do. I think I played that over 40 hours, if not more. and it just kept you coming back for more. Trying to get all the collectibles. It was a very fun Star Wars Lego game. That was my
Good.
favourite.
Okay. I don't think I've played that one. Richard, what's your first?
I'm going to talk about an old one now. In the mid-90s, I think it came out. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Um, my dad bought a load of PC games when we got our first PC, including like Doom and one called Harvester, which was like an FMV of a serial killer in like this rural American town. And I only remember that because the video game box set used to give me nightmares. But he also bought X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which I was never able to really play fully because it was a multiplayer game, so people would have to set up LAN pies if people can remember those to be able to like do the multiplayer. So I was only able to like play these training missions for it, but it absolutely blew me away at the time when it's first person, so you just sat in the cockpit of these iconic Star Wars Star Wars ships, um, being able to like fly around space in these. We even had the little joystick for the PC at the time as well, so I was able to not use the keyboard, but like feel like I was really flying these ships around, completing these training missions. And then when I finished those, that was it. I just had to replay those. The online, well, not it probably wasn't even online, but that aspect of it completely passed me by. But I absolutely loved that anyway. So yeah, that was probably my first pick.
It's a good one. I'm going to go straight to me. My first one is an arcade game. It's 1983. It came out then into the arcade, and it was Star Wars Arcade. And you sat in a massive kind of like a booth, and like that feeling you've got the controls of a TIE fighter, and it takes you basically into space, and you're flying and you're shooting TIE fighters, and then it has the whole Death Star run that you have to do, and you have easy, medium, and hard, and you just kind of repeat that kind of loop. But it's really like arcade games are really tricky. But then what you've got also is the voices from the film going, "Use the Force, Luke," and all that stuff in this kind of whole compartment with surround sound in 1983. Or you're hearing the Darth Vader say that line about the Force is strong with this one. And so I just remember going to the arcade and like I think that was 20p that game rather than 10p thing, and like really gonna go. You just wanted to.
That's like £1 nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be like
Least.
it'd be a mortgage, lease. But yeah, that was my first one. That was my first experience with Star Wars game. It was brilliant. Have a look at it online. You can see it. It will hold up. Let's go on to your next one, James.
I think it was, for me, Star Wars Force Unleashed. I think be able to. It started off so well because from the outset you were Darth Vader, and then once you had that taste of that power, you got to take over his apprentice, Starkiller. And I think being a bit of a bad guy and killing, these nice Jedi folks, I think it was a nice change, and I just liked the power to kill people. It was good. That's my kind of thing.
Good. Yeah, it was good. I forgot about that game. Yeah.
You could choke people
Good.
and execute them.
Is that the one you could hold back the starship? Like the Force. It's like a boss battle. That was amazing. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Richard, what's your second one?
Can I use James's and follow up with my bad Star Wars game then for now?
Yeah, you can.
So Force Unleashed 2. Really disappointed by it. The first one, as James has just mentioned, was brilliant, and that thing at the end, I think, is one of perhaps my favourite gaming moments when you're pulling down that destroyer to crash it. It's just brilliant, really well done. Arguably never needed a sequel to it, but we got one 2 years later, and it felt rushed. It felt like really short compared to the first one as well. And it just felt completely unnecessary. And Yeah, really disappointed by it compared to the first one.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played that one, but I heard it was so bad. Got very bad reviews. Um, my second one is Knights of the Old Republic, which was the RPG. I think Bioware did it. Did they? Am I going mad?
Yeah.
Did it? Yeah. They did it. It sort of came out in the early 2000s, and there was a second game as well, which was good. But it was good going in this kind of like RPG adventure, kind of around arriving in different planets, but also the story was kind of like 3,000 years out before the main Star Wars events. And you're kind of looking at the Sith world and exploring that, making your own lightsabers, all that stuff. It was just like really fascinating, different look of that world. Maybe one day we'll get that remake. I don't remember it. One day we will. I think that's gone. Going the last one from you two. What have you got, James?
Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is a pod racing game. I think it's more of a sentimental one because it was one of the few N64 games I used to play in rotation with. I think it was International Superstar Soccer 64 and some other ones. But yeah, and a pod racer, it was so fast and exhilarating for its time. And you had loads of customization. You went to these weird planets like Tatooine. And I mean, now when I look at it, it looks terrible. At the time, it was like, wow, this is so cool. I was terrible at it. I couldn't win races. I kept trying because it was such good fun.
You were about 4.
I'm not that young. Thank you, though.
Good. Richard, your last one.
One more recent than Jedi Survivor. Last year it was, yeah. The sequel to Fallen Order. I just think it improved on Fallen Order. Fallen Order was pretty good, but Survivor just improved in almost every aspect of that. Second part in a planned trilogy, so whenever we get news of the third one, I'll be very excited. But the second one will be tough to beat. I just think it took that Souls-like gameplay and adapted it into a Star Wars universe almost perfectly. Really cared about the characters that were involved as well.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I think I'm going to echo that. I'm going to echo that on my last game as well. I think I'd say both those games, but the second one particularly is just really exciting.
Yeah, and it was a really, really good story as well. It kept me going until the very end, and I won't spoil it for people that have yet to play it, but it's well worth playing through till the end.
Good, right, gentlemen. We're gonna finish with the quiz. We've got to finish with our quiz before we go. I'm rushing us through. Richard, you got a quiz for us?
I have. I hope you've been brushing up on your Star Wars knowledge. I've tried to make it not too difficult, so hopefully all these answers I know from the back of my head, some of them, but they should all be in there. So do you want to test your buzzers?
Oh no.
And what have you got, James, first?
Beep, boop.
Good. Oh, I've got nothing Star Wars here, so I've got nothing. I can't do it. That's not very Star Wars. I'm doing that.
I don't understand.
I think I can tell the difference between them, so we'll jump in.
Yeah.
But yeah, just straight up buzz in once you think once you know the answer. Mm-hmm. Question 1: what is Princess Leia's homeworld? Yeah.
Oh, no.
I
James?
don't know. Is it Endor?
No.
I was going to say Andorra until I realised that's a country in our world. It begins with A, doesn't it?
Yeah, there we go. Well done.
Well done.
Question 2: in what year did the first Lego Star Wars sets come out? Gareth?
1978.
No. A lot later. James?
Is it 85?
No. It was 99 to coincide with the release of Episode 1.
Wow.
But for a bonus point, can you name any of the starter sets? If you think of classic moments, I'll let James go first. See if he can name one.
Is the Death Star?
No. Gareth?
The Millennium Falcon?
No. I think you're thinking too big. For the first sets, it was smaller vehicles like speeder bikes, ships, X-wings, and stuff.
Pod
You were
racer.
there was a pod racer in there,
Do it now.
but there you go. 99. Question 3. Biggs and Wedge are pilots in the original Star Wars film, but what long-running video game series also has characters named Biggs and Wedge? James?
Is it Mass Effect?
No.
Halo.
No. Final Fantasy.
Oh,
You know I like to slip in a Final Fantasy question for you. Question 4. Who speaks first in A New Hope?
Getting
Gareth.
worse, this noise. C2PO.
Yes. Well done. Do you know what he says first for a bonus question?
No, I don't. What's going on? Why are we getting shot at?
It's not far off. It's did you hear that?
Oh, hey, okay.
Question 5. Who does Mads Mikkelsen play in Rogue One?
remember being in it.
He created the Death Star, didn't he? Designer of it. I don't know.
It's Galen Erso.
Yeah, so.
Question 6. What country was used for Tatooine? Gareth.
Tunisia.
Yeah, well done.
Very good.
Question
That's why
7.
they
Who...
asked you the buzzer. That's all I can
It
remember.
changes every time. It's a good job we've got video on because I can see him doing it, but it changes every time.
It's made into the Goonies.
Question 7. Who has appeared in the most Star Wars films? I'll accept the character or the actor. James.
Is it? I hope I'm right. Is it? I'm gonna go with Luke Skywalker. Yeah, which one?
Nope.
Is it C2PO?
It is. Well done.
I don't know.
He's been in every single Star Wars film.
I can say that. I second guessed it.
Speaking of people that have been in Star Wars films, which of these has not appeared in a Star Wars film? So your choices are Daniel Craig, Tom Hardy, Keira Knightley, Jason Statham, or Prince Harry. James.
Is it Jason Statham?
Well done. It is.
Well done.
Find
I was
out,
going to
I'll
say Tom Hardy.
He was a stormtrooper, I believe. Question 9. What race is a character called Logray? This is a tricky one. No, he was an Ewok. Question 10. Galen Marek is better known by what name? James?
I'm not wrong. It's not Starkiller, is it?
No, it is. Well done.
Hey,
Well done, James.
I'll get that one right.
Question 11. What is the name of all tie-in material to the first 6 Star Wars films rebranded in 2014? So when they announced episodes 7 to 9, they called everything in the expanded universe a different name. James?
So is this for the 1 to 6?
No, it was everything that was sort of
Afterwards.
like the books and all the video games and everything that was sort of tie-in
Afterwards.
material.
Oh. I don't know.
No idea. The expanded universe.
Well, that's what it was called. It was then referred to as Star Wars Legends. They basically said that it wasn't canon anymore, and they used it as an excuse to avoid plot holes and crossing over and stuff. But for a bonus question, there was one thing that was excluded from all that. Can you name what it was?
No.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars TV series.
That's a good
That was the
series,
only
that.
thing that was kept canon. Question 12. Bozzy Baranta is an unlockable character in what Star Wars game?
Star Wars Battlefront.
No. James?
Star Wars Lego.
No.
The complete saga. Oh.
It was Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
I knew
Oh,
when you
my
said it.
James.
I know. There are nobodies in that game. Forget about it.
There is a lot of nobodies in that game.
There is.
Question 13. Spot the droid. So I've got 5 droid names and only one of them is real.
Okay.
So you ready? P660, JB5, Y16, Q49S, and EV9D9. Only one of those is a real droid.
Oh, I'm going for EV19 to where the last one was.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
You've got the force today, Gareth.
Right.
You're on it.
Wow.
Question 14. There's 16 questions as well. Don't ask me why there's 16. According to Metacritic, which is the best Star Wars film? That's according to Metacritic.
Beep boop.
James?
Is it Return of the Jedi?
Nope.
Empire Strikes Back.
Nope. It's
Right
Attack
on.
of the Clones. No, it's not Attack of the Clones. It's A New
Okay,
Hope.
Look at the clones.
Definitely isn't. So it's number
The
4.
original is apparently still the best.
Mm.
Question 15. Who are Figrin Dan and the modal nodes better known as? I think you can, even if you take a wild stab in the dark with this, you should be able to get it.
Who are they? Say them again.
Figrin Dan and the modal nodes.
A band?
Sorry, Gareth, what was that?
Are they the band in the katana?
It didn't buzz in.
Wow.
Unbelievable, breaking rules.
To the very silent creature.
And finally, which European city features chimneys that inspired the Stormtrooper helmet?
Beep boop.
James?
I want to say Amsterdam.
No. Different
Prague.
again. No, it was Barcelona. I think they were.
Ah.
Are they Gaudi? I think it was him.
Well done, Richard. That's really good.
So that's all of them. I won't do a tie break because
I think we knew
Gareth has won.
one. Yeah, I don't know.
Good.
Well done, Gareth.
Thank you, James. Unlucky. Good quiz, Richard. We like that.
Cheers, Richard.
Right, gentlemen, that was really good. Thank you so much. Another one done. Our Star Wars special. We will see you all very soon, in the next couple of weeks. Have a good September playing those games. All those 19 games. We expect everyone to have a go at them. James, thank you very much. 18. James, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.thexboxhub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.